So in 2013, President Obama said, nobody is listening to your phone calls. That turned out to not be true, right? Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. And I've got a lot of thoughts on this. It's been up in the news this week with CNN due to recent events. I will say right off the bat that certain recent events, talking about storms and responses to storms, I can't speak too much to because I actually do have some information here that I can't share publicly. So I will speak around what I can, and stuff that's already public out there, we can kind of work around it with that. Folks, if you're not aware, we are approaching our 6,000 subscriber mark, and we are going to be doing a little giveaway near the end of December, actually. So there's going to be more details coming on that. It is not affiliated with YouTube or any other brand that I work with. This is just me giving back to you, and I'm going to be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card to one of the viewers. So stay tuned for details on that. And you want to make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification on so you don't miss that. But again, there's going to be more details coming on that, so don't worry too much about that tonight. We're looking at December for that. And I promise you'll hear more and more as we do, especially during the live streams. I'll be talking about this and how to enter and all the rules and that kind of thing. For now, just know that's not affiliated with YouTube or Google or anything else. It's just me giving back to the viewers. Okay. So we have a poll going on at the top. Make sure that you vote on that, and I'll try to remember to come back to that at the very end. The poll question was, do you trust the current administration to tell you the truth? Let me know what you think in that. It looks like some people are already voting. Thank you for that. Keep voting on that, especially if you're tuning in a little bit late. A couple rules for chat, and I'm going to check in with chat here in just a second. A couple rules for chat is I ask people to please be kind to each other, be kind to the mods. My mods are not paid. They give their time freely. And the mods actually are going to be eligible for the giveaway as well because they're not paid. If they were paid, they would not be eligible for that. So please be kind to the mods, be kind to each other. No racism, no sexism. Other than that, it's okay to disagree, right? Like, you can push back on anything I say. I welcome a little bit of debate, actually. And several of my viewers, some of my mods, have called me out on things that I've been wrong on in the past. We work it out. I appreciate when somebody says, hey, I think you're wrong, Sarge. Here's why. So back it up. If you got something, that you feel like I'm wrong, just back it up. And that's actually one of the points we're going to talk about tonight, is that the burden of proof is, when we make outrageous claims, is really on us, right? And we absolutely have a right to question things. Everything from election validity to how disaster response is handled, to have aliens flown in our airspace. We did a stream about that not too long ago. I'm probably going to circle back to that later on. We have a right, and you probably really should have a responsibility to question things, right? Don't just take anything on surface value. But when we go beyond like questioning it and we say, no, this is the truth right here, we do have some burden of responsibility to back it up with some factual evidence. Now, one of the best ways we can do that is we all have phones, right? So those of you who are in these disaster areas right now, and there's claims being made about don't believe people on the internet with conspiracy theories and things like that, get the video evidence, right? I've seen some of this stuff. I know what I've seen. And I know the sources that I've gotten that information from that I trust wholeheartedly. But you got to get that video evidence and put it out there, right? And yes, I know some of these platforms are censoring like crazy. Twitter X is almost censorship free. It's not completely censorship free. There are some things that they will take down, and it's pretty obvious. Like, if you certain like blatant murder, things like that, they're not going to let that stand on there, right? So but they have shown death scenes and things like that. I've seen it, right? So Twitter X is, if you're looking for a place to get the uncensored truth, that's your platform, guys. I've been telling people this for a year, that since Elon bought it, whether you like him or not, and I get it that he says a lot of things that a lot of people don't like, he spent his own money to create, and it's been an absolute loss for him, financial loss, to create a platform where people could put truth out there for other people to see, and it's not censored. And it's the only platform that has that wide of a reach that's doing that right now. Yeah, I know there's other stuff like the dark web and things like that where you can also get access to stuff that's not going to be available on Facebook and Meta and YouTube and things like that. But Twitter X is kind of mainstream, right? So you can get your factual videos of what's going on, put it up there for the world to see, and that's how you make the people who are claiming you that are foolish look foolish themselves. You got to bring the proof to it. Okay. Let me check your chat here in just 1 second. A couple of last minute announcements too. Georgia Bushcraft, for those of you who are thinking about going, the class list went live yesterday and registration for classes went live today. I registered for the classes that I'm going to be taking. So if you have tickets and you didn't see those emails, check your email. It should be in there. Make sure you register because some of those classes will sell out. Some of them probably already have sold out. Not sell out because most of them are like included in your ticket price. There's a few that if there's materials involved, it costs a little bit extra. But if there's a class you really wanted to take or an instructor you really wanted to meet, get on there now. Go to check your email, get on there and register tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow because things are going to be filling up really, really fast. Okay. And I know some of you reached out and said you're going to be there. Absolutely. Come and find me. I love to meet people. Let's hang out. Let's take, do a little video together, take some pictures for Instagram, whatever. I'm looking forward to meeting some of you that I haven't met yet. I know Virginia Bushcrafter said that he's going to be there. TJ in Georgia said she's going to be there. Trying to think who else. Anyways, we'll see you at George Bushcraft. All right, let's check your chat here. I know there's a lot of people who were already kind of checking in earlier. I saw James. Thank you so much. Utah Mike was here earlier. Maccabeus has got a barbecue to be at. No worries. Saw that. Appreciate you, Lee. Thank you so much for helping out tonight. Stuart's prepping. Always good to see you, my friend. Scrolling. Utah Mike is back. Rosemary, thank you for joining. Coffee first, then speak. Good to see you, my friend. Diana too. Hello. How are you tonight? All right. Did I get everybody? Freedom by me is good to see you. They're not theories, just conspiracies. So one of the things that I like to say is a conspiracy theory is just a spoiler alert, right? But there are some that like are complete bunk, and we probably, it's fair to mention that, right? Like, I don't want to pick on anybody, but the earth isn't flat, folks. Now, I say that, and as I was thinking about this stream today, I was thinking about there is a physics theory, not a law. It's not proven. There's a physics theory called the holographic universe theory, which, if it ever is proven true, which is going to be hard to do, but if it is ever proven true, one of the concepts of holographic universe theory is that it's not a three-dimensional world. It's actually like a holograph that is projected that we perceive as three-dimensional. I know it's bizarre stuff. We've talked about the quantum physics stuff before. Not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. Don't make me go down that rabbit hole. But if that's proven true, then the flat earthers will get the last laugh. As of right now, I'm going to say the earth is not flat. Sorry if that pisses any of you off. I've flown a lot. I've flown across the world. I'm sorry. There's people who have been up in space who have seen it from space. And I know people who know those people. All right. I know somebody who works for NASA. Okay. That the earth is not flat. I'm sorry. All right. So we have to say that there are some conspiracy theories out there that are just, they're bunk. And unfortunately that makes other conspiracy theories makes the whole community look kind of bad because people start to associate them together. Right. But we also know some conspiracy theories have been proven true. Edward Snowden proved that, yes, the US government is listening to your phone calls. A lot of people speculated this for a long time. The government denied it. Obama denied it. And then it was proven that it actually is happening, right? So when you have a case of, we have people throwing out like outrageous things, like the world is run by lizard people, right? Okay, I don't know, maybe it is, but you got to bring some proof. You can't just like say that. Nobody has brought any proof that the world has been is being run by lizard people. So we have to say for now, it's just a theory, conspiracy theory, and it's kind of a far out there one too. So if somebody someday does like they did in V and they go up and they pull the skin back and we see that, these world leaders are lizard people, then we will all owe them an apology. Okay. But we're not there. So the two get conflated, and then it's hard to, when we have real things that people are saying, hey, this is happening right now. Boots on the ground are saying this. We actually have some video evidence of this going on. People just will dismiss it. And sometimes the media muppets will be complacent with that because they're just going to do what their advertisers and their controllers are telling them what to do. I know now I'm getting a little bit conspiracy theory, but they're just they read a script, right? And how do I know this? Because I've have friends who worked in media who left because it's very unethical. I'm talking about mainstream media, big media, because it's a very unethical industry where there really isn't like this freedom of the press. There is a script that you're handed to be read. Who's writing the script? We can all speculate. Does anybody have concrete proof of that? Right? I know what I believe, and it's probably what most of my audience believes as well. But we got to get the proof. Some whistleblowers got to have to come forward and say this stuff's being dictated by this group, right? This large entity with a lot of money that's controlling what we are told to tell you. Okay. All right. Let's see. They gave a Nobel Physics Prize to computer science and maybe a mathematician. Some nonsense today. Audio's in and out. Oh, guys, am I having a problem, or is it just one of you? Hang on. If the Earth is not flat, why are levels used in construction? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, so James says, like in the Matrix film. So again, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole today. I do like talking about quantum physics and all these like crazy theories. And yes, very much that's a great analogy, very much like the Matrix. But we're not going down there today. You guys are trying. You're trying to. Every time I try to get out, you pull me back in. That's why I love y'all. Radio horizon is 12 miles on the ocean unless you get a taller antenna. I'm going any further, regardless of what the box says. If we were in a matrix, how would we know? Yeah, exactly. Not sure what they would get out of saying it's round, but if it was flat, and I shouldn't have brought that up, y'all. You're going to take me down a rabbit hole. He had an M10 travel restriction. How did he get an international flight? I don't know. He was also Lee. He was also a bit of a hacker as well. So maybe he was going beyond his levels of what. In fact, I think he did. Don't quote me. I think he did say that he pushed beyond what he should have had access to. He said he went digging for things like aliens, and if there was any evidence of that. From what he could find, he said he could not find any evidence of like aliens or crashed UFOs. Doesn't mean that those things don't exist. It means that whatever databases he had access to, there was no evidence of that there. Hey, Bacon, it's good to see you. So I don't think that they are the lizard people are real, but I do think that there's some evil people that run the world. I'll say that. You look good in a Matrix hoodie. Thank you. See, this back screen here actually always makes me think of Digital Prepper, who, by the way, he's still around. He's a little bit more active on Twitter. Sometimes he'll send me a message and stuff over there on Twitter. It's not a conspiracy when it comes true. That's right. Then it's proven, right? All right. 5x5 audio is good. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, cool. So let's a couple things I wanted to bring up. So I just want to throw out some of the theories that these things were at one point conspiracy theories and then later were proven true. Anything that I bring up here in this next bit is fact check me. If I get it wrong, put it in chat or put it in comments. Okay. But did my homework, so I shouldn't get it wrong unless I have like a slip of I say something wrong, not like intentionally. So it's generally well regarded in the international community, like we're members of the United Nations and NATO, and it's generally frowned upon. Assassinations are generally frowned upon, and coups are generally frowned upon. Like those would be considered war crimes by most people, by most modern societies. So our country would never be involved with those kind of things, right? Right? Except that we know there's been declassified evidence that the United States has been involved in those things, most notably with Cuba, most notably with the Bay of Pigs, right? So if you're not familiar with the Bay of Pigs, this was a failed military operation in 1961 where CIA trained a group of, I think it was 1,400 Cuban exiles to go in and try to overthrow Fidel Castro's regime. And this was under the John F. Kennedy administration. And it was believed that they would get a lot of sympathy from the people of Cuba and that this would be a very easy operation. Not so much. They got slaughtered. And that was one of the attempts. There was also Operation Mongoose, where this was where they were trying to poison cigars and get those cigars to Castro because he was known to love cigars. I believe that there's been 8 attempts to assassinate Fidel Castro that were declassified. It's suspected that there's over 600, and the project was codenamed Executive Action. You all can look that up. So it's interesting that we are the world police, or people like to, sometimes the United States likes to think of itself as the world police, and sometimes other countries look to us to be the world police. But if we're going to be in that kind of quote unquote moral high ground, should we be engaging in things like assassination and coups, right? Those are kind of sneaky warfare, right? Like sneaky warfare. These are things that the international community genuinely frowns upon. If any other country tried to do this with the United States, we consider it terrorism. But when we do it, it's considered what? A military operation? I don't know. You tell me. But this was something that people have said, that the United States is involved in assassination and coup attempts around the world. Well, we know that there's at least been several that have been declassified. If we know of those, what's the likelihood that there's more? You do the math. So that's, you can look up Bay of Pigs and Operation Mongoose and Project Executive Action. Those are 3 that you can go and check and fact check. During the Obama administration, we already talked about the wiretapping that was going on, that was, of course, denied by the United States government. And by the way, I can remember as far back as, so that was 2013 or thereabouts when that all came to light. I can remember as far back as 2005-ish that techies, people from Silicon Valley, were trying to leak out that we think this was happening. And they were picking up on things, right? And not just in phones, also in some of your devices, right? Which everybody says our devices are listening to us. No, your devices are not listening to you. That's paranoid tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Is it though? We know that our devices are listening to us. In fact, you can test this out for yourself. You can pick something obscure like Ozempic, right? And just keep walking around your house a couple times a day. I wonder what it's like to take Ozempic. And guess what you're going to start seeing ads for? Not just on your Facebook, not just on your, but everywhere, YouTube, everywhere. You're going to start seeing these ads for whatever it is that you're talking about, because the devices are, in fact, listening to you. This is not tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. This is now established fact. There's a book out there that I recommend you all read. Let me think of the name of it for a second. Shoot, it's going to come back to me. It's about marketing, and it's about like all of that, like the new age of digital marketing and how they determine what products you might be interested in buying. If anybody remembers in chat which book I'm talking about, just throw it in there. If I remember it, I'll blurt it out. I'm going to come back to your chat in just a second, folks. I see there's a couple of people commenting. All right. So during the Obama administration, there was also several gun shop owners, and some of you already know where I'm going to go with this, don't you? Several gun shop owners in the southwest part of the United States were trying to leak out to people that they were concerned that there were people purchasing firearms that, when if you don't know a firearm, or if you never bought a firearm, you might not know this, but what happens is you go into a store and you fill out a form, and then they do a very quick background check, and they call, and there's an international database, and it checks to see if it's okay to sell you that firearm or not. Okay. So there were several people in the south of the United States that were reporting that they were concerned that there were people that they shouldn't be selling firearms to, but they were being told sell them the firearm. Welcome to Operation Fast and Furious. So if you're not familiar with this one, the Obama administration was trying to track straw purchases and how they were possibly getting into the hands of cartel. But this backfired on them spectacularly because they lost track of most of the firearms, which, by the way, supposedly had tracking devices implanted in them. They lost track of most of the firearms, over half of them. And one of them actually ended up being, many of them that they were still tracking or later turned up were used in murders. And one of them was actually used to murder a border agent. So that border agent would possibly still be alive if this administration had not done Operation Fast and Furious. So look that one up, fact check me. I promise you, I'm pretty sure I got it right. If I got a little detail wrong, correct me. But again, this is another one that there was people out there saying, hey, there's this thing that's going on. Something's really weird here. And it was labeled as, no, this is just conspiracy theory. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. But there was something there. All right, let's check back to your chat here. All right, I no longer identify as a conspiracy. Now I identify as yeah, I love that. Yes, they're just spoiler alerts, right? I have a great meme. I haven't posted it in a while. Of that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV, and it says, when you're watching the news and something that you got banned on, that you got suspended on Facebook for saying, is now being reported. Because that's how it works, right? You get information and you talk about it, and then you get suspended by these platforms who work for, I don't know, you tell me, but it gets suspended or you get suppressed in the algorithm. And then the next thing you know, 3 months later, they're reporting it in the news, and you're like, yeah, we told you so. Revolution is a messy business. Yes, it is. U.S. citizen and head of, yeah. So there was, I don't know enough to go down that rabbit hole, but there was a lot of people here in the United States who were also affiliated with them prior to 9/11. So that I do know a little bit about that. Apparently, this I do believe that it was just a coincidence that they happened to be filming at that school with I forget the shooter's name, the shooter who shot at Trump. They happened to be filming at that school, and he happened to be in the commercial. And I do think that one is probably just a coincidence. I don't think there's like any further involvement that we can directly tie for them into that. That's just me personally. Those are my thoughts. Hillbilly Samurai, it's good to see you. How are you doing tonight? Appreciate that, Lee. Judy May, all of us. It's they're looking for metadata, supposedly, trying to find the bad guys, and hopefully that's what it's being used for. Listen, let me go back to that for a second. At this point, it's too late. If the American people had a problem with that level of surveillance, the time to do something about it was in 2013, but instead everybody wanted to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So the apathy is what allows that stuff to continue to go on. So if you have a problem with warrantless surveillance, we should have done something about it in 2013. It's too late. It's too late. Nobody spoke up. Everybody said, "Oh, wow, what an interesting story." Hey, look, Kim Kardashian's back on TV. And I don't mean you, right? I don't mean anybody in this audience. I mean the general average population is very apathetic and doesn't care. They just want to be entertained and numbed out, and that's it. They don't care. They don't care about any of the stuff that I'm talking about tonight. They don't care about Fast and Furious. They care about the next one, which I'm about to tell you about, which is Operation Northwoods. They don't care about assassination attempts or coup attempts or UFOs even or wiretapping. They don't care. They just want to be numbed out on TikTok, red wine, Xanax, and I don't know, whatever the latest reality TV show is. And listen, I have to unplug my brain sometimes too, right? I'll watch South Park. I'll watch, there's a reality show that's filmed here in my city that I watch, and I know it's mindless stupidity. I get it. I know that. We all have to unplug to some extent, but there's a difference between, unplugging because like my brain's on overload and I'm getting depressed or I'm getting anxious or I'm getting agitated, and completely unplugging and not giving a crap about what's going on in the world. And unfortunately, I think like 90% of the public falls in the latter. Absolutely, James. Absolutely. Yep, exactly. Alexa, play Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine. See if I got any of your Alexas to do that. If that worked for any of you, let me know. Yeah, we're already there, Unc. We are already there. Yeah, he was just a little bit behind the curve, but he knew where it was all going. All right. I've got a headache the size of a Pinto. Last night that Advil isn't helping. Oh, I'm sorry for those of you with a headache. I'll stop yelling and I'll stop telling your Alexa, play Rage Against the Machine, wake up. I'll stop doing that. That's bad. That's naughty. They back to the States over years of lies. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that one tonight. 15-minute cities, and that's a real thing. That is absolutely a real thing. I can tell you it's happening here in my city. I'm a witness to it. I know where one's being built right now, or one of these little like projects. And if I'm still YouTubing in a couple of years, I'll show it to you. So I don't have one. I do have one of the other devices, and I'm not going to say which because I don't want you guys to start doing it on your live streams and getting me. I don't have that one though. All right, Bacon once says, "Hey Siri, play Friday by Rebecca Black." I better stop or you're all going to drop off the stream. All right, Project Northwoods. So Project Northwoods was also declassified. You can look this up. The United States was looking into false flag operations to justify a war with Cuba. What's a false flag, you say, Sarge? A false flag is when you basically do something, you stage an event to justify an action such as a war, an invasion, a retaliatory strike, or whatever. So, as an example, one of the things that was considered under Project Northwoods was that the United States would down one of its own civilian planes and then blame it on Cuba. Huh. That's really interesting, isn't it? Look it up. It's called Project Northwoods. John F. Kennedy said, no, we're not going to do that. But it does make you wonder, false flags are probably a real thing, right? Because why would that even exist? Why is it in the PSYOPs playbook, right? Why would that even be a thing if it didn't exist sometimes? Roswell. So we had that stream. In fact, I'm gonna drop a link for this. Bear with me here a second. So back on August 9th, we had that stream about UFOs, UAPs, and aliens. I'm putting a link in there right now. And if you're watching this on replay, just go into my live stream, scroll down to like August 9th, you'll see it. And we talked about all the possible different things that it could be. Everything from weather phenomena to U.S. Planes that are confidential that haven't been declassified yet. Enemy planes that maybe are that we don't know about yet. Like there's all kinds of different possibilities for this. But with Roswell, literally nobody believes that was a weather balloon, right? Witnesses who were there on the ground said that the picture that you see in the newspaper of the weather balloon is not what the wreckage was. What was it? I don't know. But it wasn't a weather balloon. Was it aliens? Maybe. Was it a US test plane? There's a higher probability there. Was it a Soviet test plane? Good possibility there, right? So we don't know. What we do know is that the official story that they told to the public was a lie, right? It was not a weather balloon. We have numerous witnesses who say that that picture that they're showing that says this is what crashed is not what it was. And these are people who are not, there was no financial gain in it for them. They weren't selling books. They weren't, this wasn't the age of social media and influencers and people trying to get TikTok clout and all this stuff. These are just like people who wanted to live, and they saw something very unusual, whatever it was very unusual, and wanted people to know, hey, there's something really unusual that crashed here. That's all we know for sure, right? You can speculate it on however you want. I have my own thoughts on it, but it wasn't a weather balloon. They lied about that, right? So only recently did the United States government acknowledge that UAPs are real, that their pilots have seen these things, that they don't know what they are, that they can outmaneuver our best aircraft, and that's all we know factually, right? What are they? We can all speculate. Do some people know? Probably. Probably. What they've told us so far is that these are not man-made. No, they didn't say that. These are not, do not appear to be human controlled, and they don't know what they are, and they can outmaneuver our most advanced craft. That's what they have confirmed so far. Now, there's a lot of possibilities that could be. Again, go back to that stream that I just linked if you want a full discussion. I think we hit on like just about every theory that we could come up with about what these things could possibly be, including aliens. But they denied it for years. They denied that this stuff was real for years. And now only in the last couple of years are they acknowledging, yeah, there's something in the skies, and sometimes it's in the oceans, and it's really fast, and it maneuvers really weird, and we don't know what it is. Okay. So at minimum, in a couple of these, we know that they've lied to the people, right? Your government lies to you. We know about MK Ultra. I'm not going to go fully into that right now. You can dig into it. We know about the CIA mind control experiments. This stuff's been declassified. Go watch the one I did about Sirhan. You know what? I'll drop a link for that too. Let's drop a link for that one too. So I did this video back on April 12th of last year. Sirhan, if you do not know who that is the man who killed Robert F. Kennedy. There's some really interesting stuff around that case. I dug into it deeply. I spent a lot of time researching it. Watch that video. I can't go through like an hour and a half of evidence here on this and just like redo everything. I would really have to go back and review all my notes and stuff. There's some weird stuff there that points to possibly CIA programming. Hard to prove, but it's some really, really interesting stuff. Watch the video, decide for yourself, right? So if we don't have to ask questions about this, if we don't say like, well, here's what we do know, here's the evidence, we want more answers, this isn't adding up, we don't believe you. If we don't do that, then it's really easy to manipulate and control us. If that's the world that we want, okay, then fine. But I think most people in this community have questions, and we want answers, and we want the truth, and we deserve the truth. The people deserve the truth about everything from Operation Northwoods to UAPs. We deserve to know. I believe most people can handle it. What if it was aliens? I believe people could handle that. Would they be shocked? Probably for a day. Then they're going to go back to watching their TikToks, right? I'm not wrong, am I? Right? Like that for a day, people would be shocked and might crash the stock market a little bit. People might go out and panic buy all the stuff from Costco. And then within a couple of days, people are just going to be going back to their normal daily business. Because fundamentally, does anything change? Unless they landed here and start a war with us, or say, you must surrender, we're going to destroy your planet, or we come to help you cure cancer. Fundamentally, nothing changes. from where it was the day before, right? The only thing that changes is that we have confirmation of what a lot of people have already thought. So I believe the American people, I believe the world could handle that information. There would be some shock, but I don't think it would be like the level of chaos that people think. At least let me amend that a little bit. At first, I think there would be that chaos. I think people would settle down and go back to their apathy. That's what I think. All right, let me check your comments here. So I'm getting close to the end here, folks. If you get anything out of value out of this, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to check in the description down below for some links for products that I think you will like and some discount codes for preparedness products that I think will help you if you're a prepper. Make sure you check that in the description down below. Also, there's a poll at the top. This is getting to the last chance. Go vote at the poll at the top because I'm going to read the results here in just a minute. And let's scroll back up. Virginia Bushcrafter, is good to see you. So Virginia Bushcrafter, I don't know if you saw, if you heard earlier, I was saying that check your email if you hadn't seen it. They are doing registration for the classes at Georgia Bushcraft now. Jim Ketchum, thank you for joining us. If I didn't see you before, I apologize. Gotta scroll down, scrolling. Daniela Joy, yes, thank you. So she caught that. Ephesians 6:12. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world. No such wisdom in that book. It is written. Another good one for those of you who like to read the Bible is Luke 12:2-3. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which you have spoken in the ear and closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. We seek the truth, folks. We seek the truth. Coffee first. I don't know about that, but I know some other areas of the world where there seems to be full of zombies. Scrolling. Lee, what do you think? What landed in Roswell? Was it a fancy weather balloon? Alexa, who's going to win the election? Coffee first. Thank you. Have a great night. Appreciate you. Doc Alt, good to see you. No problem. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Milligram experiment on all the performance enhancement. Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of that stuff that's gone on. Thank you, Doc Alt. Appreciate it. James, I'll be honest with you. I'm somebody who's I go back and forth. I'm very skeptical that there's like whatever those UAP things are. I'm skeptical that they're aliens from another planet. I think there's something else. If you watch that, I give you my theory on what I think it is. But I would love to be wrong. I would love for there to be other advanced civilizations in the galaxy that are interested in us, and that maybe someday we could have communication with them. I would love to be wrong with that. I need more proof. I have my theories, and I can't rule out that those UAPs aren't like spaceships from another planet. I can't rule that out and say definitely not. I'm inclined to say that I might as well just say it since I'm beating around the bush. There's a professor out there, Dr. I think it's Mike Matthews. Let me double check that for you. Give me 1 second. Mike Masters. I'm sorry, Mike Masters. There's a professor out there called Mike Masters. You guys can check him out. Who his theory is that those UAP are something from the future, from like time traveling. They're from Earth, but like the distant future, and they're coming back. This is his theory, and he gives a really good case for it. So that's why I'm putting his name out there. They're coming back to either study or to gather materials that they need or to manipulate the timeline or something. But he makes a pretty compelling case for it based on the biological structure of people who claim to have seen these things, right? That they look humanoid, they're bipedal. And the chances of a creature evolving somewhere else in the galaxy to look as humanoid as we do is almost zero. It's so slim because those conditions evolved on this planet. And you know, if you want to think about it from the perspective of we evolved from Cro-Magnon man and then maybe Neanderthal man and that kind of thing, that there's always been this biped ape-like structure to us, right? That we can trace back to a certain extent, and then there's missing links, right? We know this. So that's where that theory comes from. And his name again is Dr. Mike Matthews, if anybody wants to check that out. If these things are created by an intelligent species, and I don't know that they are, but if they are, that seems to me plausible, more plausible for me than you know, something from Zeta Reticuli or something like that. But do I know? No, I don't know. I don't know any more than any of you that watches these videos and listens to these college professors and stuff, and we try to figure it out, right? Adrian, I don't believe in flat Earth, but it's okay if you do. You can watch that video, Jim. There was I believe, and again, I don't have proof, but I believe that there was, with the John F. Kennedy assassination, that there was another shooter. I do believe that. Again, I don't have any proof. Yeah. I think that Western civilization, not just the United States, is all in dangerously in a state of decline. Yeah, it's some really interesting stuff, Jim. Thanks. It sounds like you know a little bit about the case too, or a lot about the case, actually. You're welcome. You're welcome, brother. Yeah, make sure if you're going to sign up for some classes, please do it tonight, because they do fill up. From my experience in years past, stuff gets filled up and sold out. Now, if that happens, what I would say to you is still show up there. And a lot of times other people don't show up, or they're like, okay, there's enough people. If more people want to come in, it's okay. What they're mostly trying to do is they don't want like 600 people showing up at the same class. So it's mostly an attempt to try to prevent that. But if there's something you really wanted to see and it's sold out, I would say, you know, go to that spot at that time and just say, I'm not signed up. But a lot of times they'll still let you kind of be there. Yeah, Dove Season, no problem. Appreciate you. Have an awesome weekend too. Okay, so Lee says, no way. I'm assuming that was for the weather balloon thing. So, okay, so Unc, what I will say here is that I do think there's life. I should have said this before. I do think there's life out there in the galaxy. I think it's probably abundant. It's probably abundant. I think there's definitely life in the larger universe, right? My guess would be that most of it is oceanic, like lives in the ocean. And the thing that I question is there anything out there in the galaxy that has the same kind of drive as us, is in that we look to the stars. We're always wondering what's behind the corner. We always want to explore and build. And we think, well, we can't cross this ocean. What would we need to do to cross this ocean? We can't cross this mountain. What would we need to do to cross this mountain? So my question would be, is there anything else out there that has that same kind of drive as we do? Maybe. But I think the vast majority of life that probably exists in the galaxy is probably oceanic, like fish and squid and things like that. Not that they would be exactly like what we have here, but like that. And probably even more so than that, microbial life is probably very abundant. It's probably exists all over our galaxy, microbial life, right? So the more advanced that a life form becomes, the more it would have had to have survived a very long period of time of evolution, and through like things that we would call like extinction level events and things like that. So it becomes harder and harder. And eventually humanity, we talked about this last week, I think, eventually humanity, if we don't figure out a way how to get off this planet and become a multi-planet species, eventually humanity will have an extinction level event too. It just, the odds are stacked against us. There's been I think 7 mass extinction events on the planet that we know of, maybe more. So the clock is ticking. There's a comet out there somewhere with our name on it. And the only way that we as a species survive that is to be multiplanetary. And even then, so let's say that we colonize Mars and we have these underground bases or something, or somehow they even figure out how to terraform, right? Like, let's say that's possible sometime in the distant future. The life that evolves, the humans that land on Mars and evolve over there over generations, are going to evolve to look differently because the environment is different. Gravity is different. They would probably, because their gravity is less, I think, than Earth. So Mars' gravity is less than Earth. So they would probably have less bone density. They might be taller. Let's say that they terraform the planet. They might have different lungs because of that. They're eventually, over time, they would look different than humans. And you basically say, are they humans at that point? Or are they these little creatures that people say are abducting them in the middle of the night? You never know. That's definitely true, Bacon, that aliens introduced pineapple to pizza. Absolutely. Prometheus is really an underrated movie. That's another interesting theory, is that, were we possibly seeded by another species, and we're just like an experiment, or a zoo, if you will. They want to see what happens. Like, how far will these humans go before they end up destroying themselves? Kind of, yeah. There's like links in the evolutionary chain that don't directly tie us to other primates, right? Like, so we can trace it back so far, and then we can say, well, Neanderthal looks a little bit like an evolved ape, but there's pieces of that evolutionary chain that are missing, hence the missing link. I will check that out. I know the Germans were definitely researching different types of like hovercraft and things like that. Ancient Aliens is an interesting show. Something ruined it for me, and if you enjoy it, I don't want to ruin it for you. So I'm gonna hold that for myself, because when I dug deep, I found out some stuff that really took the joy out of it for me, and I don't want to take that joy away from you. Yeah, and I think that's it. That's one of the big points that I wanted to hammer home tonight, Doc, is that and so I've seen this on CNN all week long. Right? Why are you watching CNN? I don't know, because I like to see what idiots are saying. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said it like that. I all week, and they kept saying, like villainizing conspiracy theory. Well, conspiracy theory, really, there's nothing evil about it. It's questioning, it's theory crafting. But I think we do need to remember that in the day and age where we have cell phones and we can get video evidence of a lot of things, that we should use that to, whenever possible, to prove our points, right? So this is a way, but labeling somebody as a conspiracy theorist is a way to basically make them, villainize them, to discredit them. And when you do that, you absolutely can control the narrative. There is nothing else quite like us. We're pretty special. What's interesting, though, is that there are other creatures on this planet who are also very, very intelligent. Octopus are extremely intelligent. In fact, I think it was Netflix or Nat Geo did a series this summer. It's probably still up. You can check it out. The Secrets of the Octopus. Really, really fascinating and interesting creatures. Dolphins are very smart. Crows, believe it or not, are really smart. Whales are extremely smart. And some other primate species are extremely smart. In fact, some of them use tools and things like that. A lot of people don't realize that, but they'll use stone tools. So, but humans are pretty cool in that, like, some of the things that we've done and will continue to do until we are no more. You know, just everything from seeing the microscopic world to landing on the moon, which, by the way, yes, I do believe we landed on the moon. And yes, I've read all the theory crafting about that. I still believe we landed on the moon. We humans have done some pretty cool stuff. We're very special. Our brain is what makes us special. Our brain and also our opposable thumbs, because that allows us to build. There is some interesting descriptions of angels in the Bible. I think that that's worth a deep dive if somebody wants to ever go down that, the way that they're described. Yes, Jim, and I'm a big fan of things like consciousness theory, universal consciousness theory, and things like that. Actually, I was just reading about that today. And how the different ways that people interpret Satan as a serpent or a dragon. By the way, all these videos I used to watch on YouTube about pyramids and Mayan calendars are mysteriously gone. So unfortunately, yes, social media, some of them are that the channels just went dead or whatever. Social media does tend to suppress a lot of stuff like that. Check out the Y Files. That is a fantastic channel. The Y Files is actually one of my favorite channels right now. Doc Galt, that is correct. What you're saying there about the United States. Yeah, absolutely. The more we learn about consciousness and physics and quantum physics, the stranger it is. You know, we had as part of that stream we did about the UAPs, we were talking about that, and Praxis, who was on here, was saying that, you know, he wonders if humans can really ever crack the universal a theory of everything. You know, maybe our brains have a hard limit, like it's just going to always be without beyond our reach. I hope not. I don't tend to agree with that, but that would be really sad. Like, that we know that there's these deeper mysteries to how the universe works, and mathematically we can kind of, but we can't see the whole equation. And maybe I believe, you know, with some of the experiments that are being done at the Hadron Collider, things like that. By the way, there's another conspiracy theory. No, the Hadron Collider did not cause us to slip into an alternate universe. No. The Hadron Collider is very interesting, though, and if there's any way that we're going to crack some of these deeper mysteries with physics, that's going to be through things we learn through there. All right, I'm going to start to wind this one down. I want to say to you guys, thank you very much. Great conversation in chat, by the way. Thank you so much. And I will check out some of those things that you all suggested for me to. If you're watching this on replay, don't forget, turn on the live chat if it's available to you. It usually takes a few hours because YouTube has to go through it and do whatever they do. I guess they make sure that we're not doing anything super naughty, but it should be available to you after a few hours. Don't forget to check in the description down below for some discount codes for products that I think you'll like. Let's go back and check that poll. All right, I've got 32 votes. 91% are hang on. 91% of you says that you do not trust the current administration to tell you the truth. You heard it there, folks. I want to, as I always try to end with a couple things to think about or some positive notes. All right. So, again, I want to circle back to what I said at the beginning of this, is that it is your right to question things. We do not need to be sheep that just listen to whatever it is that our masters tell us. You have a right to question things. We know now that we've proven tonight that sometimes your government does lie to you. Maybe there's times where there's been good reasons for that to protect people. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But sometimes the truth seems obvious to us and it's not being told. So you have a right to question those things. But I also am going to say that in 2024, where we're all carrying around a pretty good camera in our pocket and a pretty good recorder in our pocket, let's get the proof on some stuff. And let's put the proof out there for other people to see, so that when they label us as tinfoil hat fools, that we can show to them, no, you're the fool because now you've been caught lying, right? What's been done in the dark will be brought to the light, but we have to bring the proof to do that. And I do recommend, if you're not on Twitter X, get an account and get on there, because there is so much good information out there that's being put out there. And yeah, you got to filter through it, and you're going to see some stuff that you don't want to like. Well, guess what? If we live in an uncensored world where people are allowed to speak the truth, you're also unfortunately going to see some stuff that you don't like, and people are going to say some things that sometimes offend you. Me too. I don't like seeing hate speech and things like that. But if I want to have if I want to have a world where I can go and seek out truth on any given topic, I'm going to unfortunately see people who abuse free speech and use it for things like hate speech and things like that. There's no way to have both. Our job can be, though, to call those people out and say, hey, it's not okay to say that, or it's not okay to treat people like that. You can do that to counteract it. Okay. Remember to give a like, and if you've enjoyed this, give me a like. If you hate me, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate the feedback. It is helpful. I go back and check all that stuff. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. My closing statement for tonight: instead of a positive message, I wanted to give you a closing statement tonight, and that is, I want you to meditate on this. And after I say this, I'm going to close this out, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Hope everybody is safe. We got through some pretty nasty storms these last couple of weeks, and I know not everybody made it. Keep them in your prayers and in your thoughts as well. If you can help by sending money to a trusted organization, or you know somebody who's bringing aid, then please find it in the generosity of your heart to do so. Western North Carolina got hit really, really hard. Eastern Tennessee got hit really, really hard. And now Florida, of course, especially the West Coast part of Florida, got hit really, really hard. So if you can help in those areas, please do. If you're not in a position to do so, at least, send them good energy, good prayers, good thoughts. That I believe that does help too. I believe in that consciousness of the universe, and that our positive energy that we put out there does help. Okay. Closing thoughts for tonight. Any entity that expects you to trust blindly, or to trust just because I said so, has a responsibility to act in a manner that demonstrates that they're worthy of that trust. Okay, let me say that again. Any entity that wants you to trust them unconditionally as an authority figure should also be demonstrating to you that they are worthy of that trust. Okay, think about that. Folks, have a wonderful weekend. I appreciate y'all. And thank you so much for joining me in the chat tonight. I will see you next Friday. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.